Today we're going to start learning how to work with fractions. And one of the most important things with fractions is understanding the idea of a least common multiple. All right? When we talk about the multiples of a number, it's basically just counting up by the number. But obviously, sometimes it's easier to just multiply by the number than it is to count by the number. For example, if I wanted to list the multiples of, let's say, 7, okay? The multiples of 7, well, what's 1 times 7? 7. 2 times 7? 14. 3 times 7? 21. 28. 35. 6 times 7 is 42. 7 times 7 is 49. And I could keep going forever. All right? I'll just put ... I could go forever. That is an example of listing the multiples of a number. All right? This is another reason why I've made such a big deal about knowing your multiplication facts, because I knew this stuff was coming. All right? So, but today, we're going to look at two numbers. We're going to find the LCM, which that's an abbreviation for least common multiple. Find the least common multiple. And let's start with an easy one. How about 8 and 10? What you will do, this is not something you do in your head. This is something you do on paper. All right? We are going to list the multiples of each number. As soon as we get to one that's common to both, then we can stop. It's very simple. List the 8s. 8. What's 2 times 8? 16. What's the next one? 24. 32. 40. Now, if you pay attention to the other number, you can save yourself some work. I can stop there because I know what the other number is. It's 10, right? Watch. If I list my 10s, 10, 20, 30, 40, I am done. The least common multiple is 40 for 8 and 10. That's the smallest multiple that they have in common. And we're going to use that next week as we learn about fractions. Let's do another one. They won't always be that small. You might have a bigger pair of numbers, like 12 and 16. Okay? Well, you still do the same thing. You list the 12s, 12, 24, 3 times 12 is 36, 4 times 12 is 48, 5 times 12 is 60, 6 times 12 is 72. I'll stop there for now. I actually know that the multiple is one of those. Maybe you don't see that yet, but I know that. Let's list the 16s. Now, if you can't do 2 times 16 in your head, just come over to the side and do it. What is it? 32. And if you can't do 3 times 16 in your head, then come over to the side and do it. It's 48. Do I need to go any farther? I have found a least common multiple. Okay? Now, like I said, sometimes you may have some bigger numbers to work with. I'd like for you to find the least common multiple of 8 and 25. And I'll pause the video. All right, let's see how you did. And this is a good chance for me to give you some kind of hints or tips on working with bigger numbers like this. First off, I would start with the 25. I'd start with the bigger number. And There's a reason for that. 25 and then 50 Now, in the back of your mind, you're thinking about that 8. Aren't the multiples of 8 all even? They have to be. There's no odd numbers when we think of the multiples of 8. So, but will 8 go into 50? It won't, so I need to keep going. So then 75, kind of thinking of money, that's like 3/4. Then 100. Will 8 go into 100 evenly? Not if you know your times tables. What's 8 times 12? 96. So 8 will not go into 100 evenly, so I got to keep going. 125, 8 won't go into that because it's odd. 150, will 8 go into that? Well, if you're not sure, couldn't you come up and do a quick little division problem? And that's one way you could do it. Nope, it will not go evenly. I mean, I can do the division, but it won't go evenly. Then I have 175, and then I have 200. Right? Now, let's think of money for a minute. How many quarters make $2? 8. Didn't that save you some time if you think through it that way? I mean, how many 8s would you have to list to get to 200? A whole bunch. Okay? But I can tell you that if I list these, I'm not going to get a common one. I mean, you have to list a whole bunch, right? But you will not get a common one until you get to 200. And that's why I told you to think through some of those things. Think through, the multiples of 8 are all even. So since the multiples of 8 are all even, I know it's not going to be 25, 75, 125, or 175. I can rule all those out. And then as I go, I think, well, 8 won't go into that, 8 won't go into that, and then I checked, 8 would not go into 150. And then I get to 200 and I start thinking, ooh, think of money, quarters, okay? 8 quarters make $2. So there's some things you can do to save yourself some time when you're listing these multiples, because I would have had to write a whole bunch of multiples for 8 to get to the common one, all right? So this is a skill that you have to have for adding and subtracting fractions, which we will find out next week, and we are going to stop there for today.